On Tuesday, the leaders of North and South Korea agreed to sit down next month for historic talks, which may include the denuclearization of the divided peninsular, marking a distinct thaw after years of deteriorating relations amid Pyongyang's accelerating nuclear and missile tests. If military threats to the North Korea decrease and regime safety is guaranteed, the North showed that it has no reason to retain nukes, South Korea's president's office said Tuesday following a meeting between Seoul officials and Kim Jong-un in Pyongyang, where the group were pictured grinning together during a 4-hour dinner. Much credit for the breakthrough must go to South Korean President Moon Jae-in, the son of refugees from the North, who has pushed for dialogue with the Kim regime since his May election, spearheading symbolic cooperation such as marching under a unified flag at the recent Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang. But it would be churlish not to also recognize the contribution of the bad cop, U.S. President Donald Trump, who has turned up the heat on North Korea with ever tighter rounds of sanctions, and badgered historic ally China to isolate the 25 million-strong Stalinist state. The Trump administration deserves credit for increasing the pressure and deepening even further the alienation between China and North Korea, says Professor John Delury, an East Asia expert at Yonsei University in Seoul. And globally, there have been a lot of bilateral relationships where Trump has put North Korea at the top of the agenda. Like in Egypt, whose pilots were trained by North Korea during the 1973 war with Israel, and whose obstinate backing of the Kim regime reportedly contributed to the recent suspension of $290 million of American aid. Or nations like Spain, Italy, Mexico, Peru, and Kuwait, which in the last year expelled their North Korean ambassadors following pressure from the White House. But more crucial has been the extra pressure Trump has put on China to enforce 2 new rounds of UN sanctions. Despite all warnings to the contrary, the Trump administration has also steadfastly maintained that military action remains on the table. Such threats have been roundly and rightly criticized as risking nuclear catastrophe, though there's little doubt Chinese President Xi Jinping has taken notice, especially when Chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff General Joseph Dunford visited the border area in August and established 3-star communication channels with the Chinese military to avoid accidental clashes in the event of a conflict. The drills were one of the biggest issues that was likely to become a poison pill to negotiations, says Stephen Haggard, a Korea expert at the UC San Diego School of Global Policy. And that they are willing to actually discuss the nuclear issue means they are really desperate to have talks. Trump, notably, isn't being too triumphant, tweeting that the summit is possible progress but may be false hope. That is true. And it's also a concern whether Trump's threadbare State Department has the expertise and wherewithal to exploit this momentous opportunity. But then again, if it proves at all possible, there's few better placed than good cop Moon, a man with deep emotional and intellectual connections to the North, to eke the goods out of Kim.